Welcome back. It is episode 2 of our adventure of the Fall of Plaguestone. When last we met, our adventurers had been unexpectedly attacked by wolves on the road, which in itself is probably not too terribly outside the realms of a caravan traveling through dark forests. But this particular pack of wolves was led by a formidable beast, a larger wolf, dire in its size, if you will. But even more scary was the fact that this wolf had a breath weapon of acid and had an acid saliva that did additional damage on top of that. Our brave adventurers were able to dispatch the wolves, at least the ones brave enough to attack the caravan, and had pushed the others on the periphery. When we come back from the mustering after combat, it would seem that there is a question of head count. There's a few people unaccounted for in the confusion of the combat. One of the wagons also, the horses had pitched violently during the attack and had taken the wagon into steep mud. So just after the combat, many of our characters had jumped into and helped pulling the wagon out of the mud. So we rejoin now just after that scene concludes, with the wagon being pulled out from the mud, and it is Tom Lee, the female half orc, who is basically the second in command. She's the muscle of the caravan, where Bort tends to be much more personable and much more pristine in his presentation. He's the salesman. He's the front man. Tom Lee tends to be the lady who gets it all done. Behind every great man, there is an incredibly strong woman. And in this case, it's a dwarf and a half orc. So Tom Lee is going around assessing things. And she's asking for any help that she can get from you, and you're beginning to hear that there are a few people in the caravan, a few passengers that are still unaccounted for, and certainly they're still waking people up and trying to make some sense out of what's going on. So if there's anything you'd like to do, just sorting out right after the fight. Some of you have already dedicated yourselves to helping with muscle work, with laborious actions, getting the thing pulled out, getting the wagon pulled out of the mud, etc. Is there anything else that you guys would like to do at this time?
Did we get the wagon pulled out of the mud, or is that still something?
You did. We resolved that at the end of the first episode. You did manage to, as a group, get it pulled out. Some repairs need to be done to that particular wagon. But the Teamsters, Ulf and Ulf, who do a lot of the repairs, Ulf and Ulf both assess that the damage can be repaired once you get to Etrin's Folly. We'll take care of it once we get there. It's not that severe.
So after that, I would approach Tom Lee and ask her, is there anything else I can help with?
She says, perhaps there are two unaccounted for at this point. One of our Teamsters perhaps ran frightened into the woods, and one of our passengers, the elf Lykira, she has not been found either.
Well, then we should go find them. I look at Desna and head towards her.
Thorin's been patching wounds for this whole most of this time. He's been spending time using his medicine skill. But after he's done, he's very concerned with that strange wolf. He's already done kind of a pass and gotten some information. But I would like to use my pursue a lead check to see what I can find out more, where they came from, maybe their movements, see if I can find out anything that's a little bit more interesting there.
Absolutely. What kind of role is that?
Well, it's a perception.
Okay.
or one that you designate. So like initiative, it's sort of baseline perception, but you might pick another one.
Okay, is Theron trained or better in knowledge nature or anything having to do with animals?
Oh, he's trained in most of the knowledges: medicine, nature, occultism, and so on. But he's an expert at perception.
Okay, then he would definitely want to use perception.
Alrighty. So I'm going to make a roll, and I rolled a 10, so 17.
Okay. He does a quick essay of the area. He can quickly figure out at which points the 4 wolves that ended up attacking the caravan, or was it 3? No, it was 3 plus the big one. The 4 wolves that ended up attacking the caravan, you have been able to easily trace where they came in, what vector they came in from as you're doing the circumference of the battle. And you find something incredibly odd when you circle around the 4th wagon, which was farther away from the battle. Most of the battle happened in the lead and the 2nd wagon, if you'll remember. So what you find is you find an approach of not 1, but 2 wolves. And furthermore, you can see what looks like a drag mark, like someone has been drug away by the wolves.
All right. Theron's going to light a cigar. It's his thinking stick. And he yells out to his companions, "I've got something weird here. I think we're missing someone. I think they've gotten dragged away."
So
well, Daisy, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, I have message as one of my cantrips. It's 120 feet range. So am I able to send out a message and see if anyone can respond to me?
Or does
it have to be someone I know?
I believe the message spell is more designed on a point to point. So I believe you're trying. So what you're talking about doing is reaching out and trying to find like Kira with message.
Yeah. Well, I'm focused on what Theron is saying. I've been sitting next to him, following him around, watching him fix up wounds, and hearing him say he thinks that someone's been dragged off by the wolf. Now I'm wondering if I can send a message to them to maybe see if they're okay, see where they're at. Maybe we'll also get clues on the wolf that way, if they've dragged them off to a den or something.
Let me see here. So you do need a target. You do need a target. The target needs to be 120 feet away. Hear the target, the words, they're standing next to you. The target can give a brief response to the reaction. Yeah. So this seems like this implies that you have to know where the target is. You can't use message to necessarily search for someone.
I see. Okay.
So Theron says to the group, something strange is here. Does the group masses up to his position?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Cookie kicked me out of the kitchen because I kept on bleeding all over the place because the wound that opened up. Because Daisy's a bad patient, so he comes trundling over.
I don't think that's why he kicked you out, Daisy. I think he kicked you out because you were trying to tell him how to cook.
No. Daisy's not. Daisy defers. He's used to that.
Okay.
So he's
happy to help out, but he's got.
Maybe he just thought you were trying to tell him how to cook.
No, he popped his stitches when Theron was trying to treat him, and he's like, "God damn it, you're bleeding all over the greenery! Get out of here, kid!" He's like, "Oh, come on!" And then I hear Theron go, it's like, okay, fine.
So just a
tad. Only has 2 hit points, actually.
Just a tad of rules geekery. When it says target, usually you need to see it or somehow sense it.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I figured. You kind of got to have an idea of the person's general location. So yes. So you are. Let's pop this up in here so we can see. And we are towards the back of one of the last wagons here. And this is about the area where Theron has found the tracks. When the rest of the group comes to where he's at, you can see him kneeling near a patch of tracks. And it is pretty obvious that there is a drag mark that is coming from it, and it looks as though the two wolves were working in conjunction with each other. To pull whatever, to drag whatever they were dragging away. It's hard to tell what it was that they were dragging away, though.
I imagine it's either a person or a large sack.
What are we using in PF2 for the insight, sense, motive spectrum of that's no longer a skill anymore?
It's perception.
It's just perception now. Okay. All right. Yeah, based on what you could see, it does look more like a body and less like a sack. And it doesn't appear like somebody was being pulled and resisting. It looked more like dead weight being pulled, if that makes sense.
Well, then Theron grabs his crossbow and says, "We should follow this."
All right. Load up the crossbow and head in. So the four of you move to, do you want to just, are you planning on just splunking through the rough forest or do you have another plan of attack?
Well, we'll follow the drag marks wherever they lead. Okay. If there's a patch adjacent to it that we can go on that's a little better, then as long as we have the drag in sight.
Okay, fantastic. It looks as though the wolves drug their quarry, we'll say, off of the soft patch and off of the dirt fairly quickly, and then into where the roots of the trees are exposed over. But you can still see scuff marks. You can still see where edges of boot likely hit the edges of trees, and you can still see where there is breakage in the underbrush. And you follow it forward. Who is leading? Do we have Theron in the front?
I'll lead.
Who is that?
Yeah, since I think
Simon's in the lead. Theron's in the lead. Who's leading?
I'll lead just because I've got the crossbow and I'm the one who's actually following the signs.
Okay. Followed by Simon. Followed by
Simon.
Desna.
Desna's right there, and then Daisy's going to take up the rear.
Yeah.
Okay. You all can make perception checks. Are you using a light source? It is. It's not dark, but it's not light anymore. And
I can use flame.
The trees are doing a fantastic job to shadow the forest in very dark, very dark, looming shadows.
Theron doesn't think about it because he doesn't need it.
Right, he just pushes forward.
I have low vision, so I think I can help up front as well. Make sure nobody's falling over things.
Okay.
I have dark vision as well, so I don't have a light source concern.
All right. So only Daisy has to be real careful not to trip over things, and everybody else is
sort of like gingerly making his way forward, trying to keep his eyes on whoever's in front of him, using them as sort of a dead reckoning.
Sure,
makes sense. Gloom.
Makes sense that you would fall to the rear since you're the only one who's really like carefully watching your feet and making sure you're not tripping, and everyone else is just kind of busting out.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw my sword and shield just to have those out in case we enter combat again.
Sword out, shield out. Yep. Theron, your crossbow's out, and I assume you loaded.
Oh, loaded.
You loaded it before you started running. All right, pulled it out, loaded it up. You guys went. Desna, anything in your hands I need to know about?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a dagger out.
Okay, you pull out your dagger, and Daisy, anything in your hands I need to know about?
Yeah, he's actually got his hatchet out. like ready to,
Hatchet.
loosen the hand, ready to huck it, like,
Sure, might even be using the hatchet to, clear machete style to clear some of that underbrush so that you don't have such a trip hazard, or at least make it more visible for you. So yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. Okay, Theron, what was your perception check when you moved forward 20 feet?
23.
23. Okay. So you come over the top of a large gnarl of roots that were actually a bit taller than you, and you had to kind of step up on them. They were staggered in a way that you could easily foot to foot to foot to hand to foot, and you come over the top of them almost like you're climbing over rocks, but you're climbing over the roots.
These are no rocks.
As you crest the top, and you see over the ridge of this gnarl of roots that you're climbing over, you can see that not one but two wolves are pulling at Lycera. One of them has her kind of by the scruff of her collar and is trying to pull her one way. And what they've done is they've pulled her down and under the roots. So as they pulled her up, her legs have caught on the roots now. And now, like, one of them is at her feet trying to pull her free the other way. They're basically tug-of-warring her between a large clump of roots. And she looks very unconscious.
Well, that explains what that body is.
I am going to devise a stratagem and then fire my crossbow at one of the wolves.
Okay. They seem pretty intent on what they're doing and do not currently see you.
Do they look like normal wolves, or do they look more like the acid wolf we encountered previously?
They look, actually, be back. They look like the same wolves that attacked. There was only one of the big boss types. So they look like the same packer that recently just attacked you.
Okay.
Yep.
So can I just get a free shot?
Absolutely. They have no idea you're there. You can devise your stratagem and take your shot.
All right. I devise my stratagem. Ooh, that's nice. So, and then I take my shot, and that's going to be a 26. But not a natural 20.
Nice.
Hit, but by more than 10. So that will be a critical success.
Nice.
So
and that'll
critical
do
success.
8 points of damage.
8 points of damage. What was your question?
Is critical success double dice, double everything?
Yes.
Nice.
8 points of damage. All right. You shoot the beast in its hindquarters. That's the one that's pulling on Lycera's legs. It is not at all happy about this. It goes from an intent kind of a frustrated growl as it's pulling, and then lets out a yelp. It bolts. When it bolts, the other one sees it bolting, and it bolts as well. So they will use their reactions to both run away.
Excellent.
That was a lot easier than last time.
Yes, it was.
Wolves. Hey, what are you seeing up there?
I just shot a wolf. They're running away. There's somebody who needs help. So I'm going to start moving to the person who needs help, taking out my healing coat.
Okay. All right. So you're going to move up. Everybody is going to fall in to where Lycera is.
Follow Theron.
It is clear the way to get her out of this is to pull her back through the way that they brought her in originally. They weren't just they just weren't doing a very good job of it using just their mouths, but it takes a little bit of work because they wedged her in there pretty good. You have to kind of dig her out with your hands a little bit and then pull her back down underneath the roots, but you can do that. And Theron, you can apply a medicine check to her. You, what was your roll?
My roll is an 8, and I think I have a +7, but let me double check. Or maybe it's a +5. Where's my medicine? It's +5, so only 13.
You assess that she is not particularly wounded. She hasn't taken a lot of wounds. There aren't a lot of blood on her, but there is a very pronounced bite mark on one ankle, and she has a huge egg knot on the back of her head, where it looks like likely one of them pulled her to the ground and she hit her head hard and it knocked her out.
Okay, I will dress the wound and then try to see if I can't wake her up by snapping or getting smelling salts or whatever from my kit.
How many hit points? How many hit points healing did you do to her with the magic of your healing kit?
Let me roll for that. I did not roll high enough to give her more hit points.
Okay, but you did manage to bring her to consciousness. She does come to, and like Kira, you do wake up after you had kind of a sleepy encounter. You didn't even know there was danger. You got up from your bed to go use the bathroom or some such in the middle of the night. The next thing you know, something hurt your ankle. You stepped funny and it hurt really bad, and the next thing you know, you fell down and hit your head. That's all you really know. You knew nothing of the wolves. You knew nothing of the battle or the attack, and you're quite confused to be waking up here from a stunned unconsciousness, looking around, seeing. I don't know if they're your friends or not. I don't know if you've made any bonds with any of these folks, but you recognize these people as being members of the caravan, but you have no idea what's going on.
Where the hell am I?
You got dragged by wolves.
We also ran into an acid wolf, so that was really fun.
Oh, let's not overload her with too much information right now.
What?
How many fingers am I holding up?
3?
Wrong. We need to get her back to the caravan. She needs rest, and we need to watch her to make sure she doesn't fall asleep.
Okay.
Looks like you hit your head pretty hard.
Sleepy time.
No sleepy time.
You bandage the wound to her ankle. Like I said, it's fairly superficial. A couple little teeth marks on the ankle, and most of what you're feeling is a big lump on the back of your head, which it's not like they can give you an ice pack in the middle of the forest, but you do with what you can. You put some cold leaves and a little compress on it, and it feels as good as it possibly can. You are disoriented, but not so that you can't make your way back to the caravan with everyone's assistance. When you return to the caravan, you see that Glunda and Tomley are standing near that fourth carriage where you started your searching the path of the drug away, like Kira, and they're standing there, and Tamley has a concerned look on her face, which turns into that of relief when she sees that you have returned with Lykira. She takes the opportunity to say, "We have found the missing teamster as well. As I suspected, he bravely ran into the forest during the attack."
Bravely.
So everyone is accounted for.
Well, that is good news. This one, what's your name again?
My name is Lykira.
Lykira here.
The night.
Okay. Lykira here has got a wicked bump on the head. She needs to stay rested, but not fall asleep for a little while.
So Tomley will turn to Glunda, the gnome, who despite anyone's best efforts of trying to get to know her or warm up to her, she's really not about the small talk and seems far more comfortable with the animals than with the people, and in fact prefers to sleep with the animals than with the people. It seems that Glunda only speaks directly to Tomley and occasionally to Bort when it is necessary, because he is the boss. So Tamley turns to Glunda and she says, will you take our passenger and make her comfortable and maybe keep her company, to tell her some stories? And Glunda looks at her and frowns and shakes her head. She's like, no, it's okay. You'll find something to entertain her. Maybe you could play some music. And she just kind of frumps at her. Glunda will walk over to Lycura, and she's much shorter than you are. She's a little pipsqueak, and she'll put her hand out and put her hand out to grab your hand.
So I'm gonna grab her hand and follow with her.
Yep, she takes your hand. She goes, and she doesn't say anything to you. She just pats your hand a little bit in hers, and she starts walking off, pulling you, like taking you for a drag. And she leads you back to your caravan, back to the wagon that you are currently staying in. And she will stay with you, and she will keep you company. Are you fine with Glunda being silent during this whole time, or is Kira the type that would kind of push it and try to get her to talk to her, or kind of get her to be more social, or would she just be fine with she's a quiet person and she doesn't talk and leave it at that?
Well, my ears are especially sensitive right now because of the head injury, but since I'm a whisper elf, they tend to be more sensitive. So if she could just keep it down, that would be appreciated.
Okay, so she doesn't do any of the talking, and you're fine with that? Yeah,
for now at least.
Okay, fantastic. So she will stay with you. She will keep you company, and she will, if ever you get tired, if you start getting to the point where you're dozing or starting to nod off, she'll just come and she'll tap you. She'll tap you. She'll shake you. She'll keep you away. And when you look at her, she'll just. All right. So
Theron doesn't like leaving a patient, so he checks in every once in a while to make sure the gnome's doing her job.
Okay. Fantastic. So Tamley walks the rest of you back towards the wagons, and she says, it's much appreciated what you've done today. Again, protecting the logs and keeping us all safe and retrieving those pulled away. It's all very noble stuff. She stops for a moment. She turns back to you. She goes, it's not going to change your pay or what you paid. And then she keeps moving again, like just clearing the air like this. Just because you're being really cool people doesn't mean that you're going to get any money back off of your expedition. When she gets back, Ulf and Ulf seem to be very upset, and not with each other. They seem to be frustrated. You can see them throwing their hands up in the air, and they seem generally frustrated when they get back. And when one of them notices that Tomley has returned, he says, "Oh, hey boss, we got real problems. Come over here. I'll show ya." And Tamley goes, "Oh, great. Now what? Does anyone go with her, or are you curious to see what's going on, or do you go off to do your own thing?"
Theron definitely follows.
Okay.
Simon and I are pretty mischievous, so I'm sure we're following to see what all the fuss is about. At least
okay.
I'm going to follow Desna just because it's fun and
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. So Tamley walks over and you can see that her demeanor seems to harden a little bit when she goes from dealing with you to dealing with them. Ulf and Ulf, the Redfin twins are they go from the spectrum of being completely competent and being good at their job all the way to the other edge of comic relief. But it would seem that one of the wagons, they're dealing with the wheel and the axle, and you can, as you walk up to it, you can see that the wheel is at a very strange askewed angle, and there is they've got a small not a campfire, but more of a lighting fire that they've lit right next to where the wagon is, a few feet away, casting a good amount of light in the area. And it looks as though the wheel, the spokes of the wheel and the metal sprock holding it all together, it looks like it suffered some kind of catastrophic failure, and it just kind of fell apart. Tammy comes walking up and she says, "All right, boys, give it to me straight. What's the news?" Ulf looks up and he says, "The damn thing put acid everywhere. It must have spit all over the axle, all over the wheels, on both sides. It didn't come through right away, but now that it's had a moment or two to sit and burn, well, we've got at least 4 wheels that we're going to have to change." She says, "Do we have 4 changes?" He goes, "Just that, just 4, no more. It's going to cost us a fortune to restock in town." And she says, "Yeah, if they even have them." He goes, "Aye, but that's not even our worry. This is about 8 hours worth of work." She says, "Well, you've got 4. He says, 6. Get busy." She turns back towards you. She says, "Do any of you know anything about wagon wheelwrighting and carpentry or any of the like? You could lend a hand to Ulf and Ulf if you so chose."
I got a strong back.
My specialty is knowledge and stone. But I do want to take a look at the acid and see if there's anything I can suss out with my expeditious investigation.
Okay, sure.
And I get a 22 on that roll total.
A 22. That's a pretty damn good roll. And you're trying to determine if there's something other than just the spit from the creature?
Yeah, I would imagine that is what's going on, but I like to take a closer look.
You surmise that that's exactly what's going on. And in fact, based on the amount of fluid output that you saw the creature conduct during combat, you have assessed that it likely had several minutes where it was making its way from wagon to wagon to wagon and strategically depositing a large amount of this acid spit on the wheels and on the axles.
Alrighty, I pull the group together and Tomley as well and explain, like I show them the points and sit there and tell them what I know and how I know that acid works, or at least acids of these types, and explain to them that this seemed to have planning, that this wasn't just a wolf attack, but some sort of concerted effort to destroy these wheels.
Well, Theron, you seem to have a lot of knowledge of a lot of things. Have you ever run into animals that have such intelligence like this before?
Well, there are many animals with somewhat intelligence, so I'm not surprised that one of them may have been one of these animals. But
one that spits acid?
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. Ones that spit fire, I've heard of that. So this one's different.
Well, I've heard people like anger and animal spirits occasionally, but I think maybe someone's got it out for our caravan master, maybe.
Not for the caravan master.
I shout out to our, did you piss off the Fae? Is that what this is?
Or someone doesn't want people going into Edrin's Folly.
Or someone really doesn't like wagon wheels.
Oh, that might be. No, that's probably not it.
Probably not.
You don't suppose...
it's definitely a mystery.
You don't suppose them wolves have it out for the people of Edrin's Folly, maybe?
Tamley kind of walks to a central position. She leaves you guys.
Wait. Sorry.
She leaves you talking about the situation. She walks towards the center of the wagons, and she claps her massive hands together in a loud report that kind of gets everybody's attention. You might have even seen her do this once before. She steps up onto the rigging of the wagon, the little step that you normally step up onto to get into it. She just steps up onto that to give herself a little extra height. She grabs the side of the rail handle and she says, "Everyone, we're going to be right where we are for at least another day. So instead of the original plan of moving forward into Edrin's Folly, I know," and you hear people, I know. It's a terrible temptation being only a few hours away, but we've got to handle business. There's a lot of work to be done tomorrow, and I expect every one of you to be breaking extra sweat to make sure we keep our timetable. And you hear another groan from everyone. And then you hear Bort finally come from the lead car. He comes around from the lead caravan. He goes, yes, that's right. Lots to do. But know that in appreciation, as always, I will be taking very good care of all of you. It will be extra special food rations and a few extra silvers in your pay for this week. And people seem to appreciate that quite a bit. And then he disappears back between the wagons.
Well, there's definitely a mystery, and I think we have to assume that we may be attacked again, and we should set up watches.
Do you think there are other wolves out there?
Well, we saw more wolves. I just don't know what's controlling them. But something is controlling them.
So who wants to take the first watch?
Evil super wolf. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I'll take the first watch.
Definitely not me.
No. There's no watching for you.
Well, if Simon's going to take the first watch, I'll probably stay up with him anyways.
I think that's a good first watch. Daisy, do you want to be in the middle of the night or towards the end of the night?
I'll take the end of the night, and essentially, this recent news tells little tents in the camp now, in the caravan. So I'm gonna be tapping kegs for y'all, and then I'll take a late shell, take a little nap, and then take one of the last shifts there.
Don't bust another stitch.
Hopefully you're easy to wake up.
Well,
you're very persuasive.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, Doc, but it looks pretty nasty. That wolf really took a bite out of old Daisy. Yeah. But, I'm pretty sweet, so it's not surprising.
All right. So the camp is taking this kind of configuration with the horses off to the sides, with the wagons pulled around in a center. There's actually 5 wagons, so there'll be a 4th closing off that side. And the 5th, which is mostly supplies and stuff, is usually tucked in behind the horses, giving them wind block and shelter is generally what they do. 2 fires have been built. The fire next to the damaged wagon just was stoked and built up into a full campfire where it was just a couple of logs burning and some. Oftentimes, what they'll do for that is they'll take some of the coals out of Cookie's pot and they will throw them onto the wood to get that going. So there are 2 full-on campfires burning, which is illuminating, creating a lot of light for everyone, so you can see really well, and makes for a very bright camp. Definitely going to discourage the nocturnal predators from coming in, etc. So. Yes.
So are we kind of intermingled with the rest of the people on the caravan, or have we all kind of broken off?
You are. No, you are. The other Teamsters and the other folks are here, and I pulled some images so you can get an idea of what these folks look like. And this evening, although everyone seems a little grumpy about having an extra day, they are still, whenever the opportunity to eat food and hang out and tell stories, that's always looked forward to, And what you've come to learn is that even though it's a little extra labor, what the caravan does is every night that they're going to be in this configuration, a lot of times they'll unload some of the dry sacks of materials. They will unload some of the crates and some of the boxes to give you a space to be in and to sit on. So they make this like little kind of circle, which incidentally also has provided cover when things have happened at night, when you've had to, duck down behind stuff to protect yourself. It also provides a pretty damn good cover as well. So that is where that's where we're at for now. I want to give you an idea of what some of these folks you have met, what they're going to look like. I've already showed you a picture of Bort last session. And let's see if I can be smart and savvy and figure out how to do this. So give me just a second to try to share these images with you. So we're going to do one of these, one of those, and that.
I finished Kira's drawing, and with Lena's permission, I'll show it.
Yes, please.
All right. So this is Tom Lee. Tom Lee is the half-orc who is basically Bort's second in command. She is not very half-orc. She doesn't have a lot of the bestial traits. She doesn't have the big jaws. She doesn't have the horns, or she has a little bit of teeth showing. But it also looks like that she goes to a fair amount of effort to hide those facts, and she kind of plays up on the more human and more elven style of dress and apparel. Let's see here. Here's Ulf and Ulf. These aren't appearing in the right order that I want. So here's the twins. This is Ulf and Ulf. Those are the Teamster twins. And let's see here. Yeah, let's do a stop share. Oh. Yeah, well, she was there for a second. Of course, the moment I try to find the image that I'm looking for, she's not there. So let me see if I can get that back so I can show you. Okay, so in the middle there is Glunda. So that's what Glunda Grapeleaf looks like. There's some of the images of some of the folks. This is Cookie. That's the old elf who does all the cooking. Couple of things about Cookie, and you've already heard the other Teamsters teasing him a little bit. Some of the people behind his back call him Cocky. and instead of Cookie. And the reason being is one of the elves' ears is completely missing. And he tends to cock his head to one side in an effort to hear better, because his hearing is not so great, and he is an elderly gentleman as it is anyway. So you've probably heard Ulf and Ulf often tease him behind his back and call him Cocky instead of Cookie. He's a sweet fellow. He's a sweet elven fellow. He's fine. Everyone calls him Cookie, so you don't really know if what other names he goes by than that. And the thing that makes him really stand out to all of you is he has rigged a way so that he can have a big iron pot hanging off the side of his wagon, and he can do long stews and long cooks while you're moving along. So he's able to do cooking for the group even while you're traveling. All right. So that's those cats. So yeah, so you've gathered the evening. You've handled whatever bits of required work, extra work needed to be done. Likely the wagon that needed there's several wagons that need wheels changed on them, but one of them was damaged more than the rest. And likely one of the details was probably blocking up the wagons, getting them prepped for the morning. It is dark, and no one really wanted to work in the dark, which is why it all got pushed to the next day. So despite the fact that there is a lot of work, there's a forlorn kind of gloom and doom about the next day, which wasn't on the plan. People are still trying to be very jovial about it, and Bort breaks out some of his fine liquor to share with everyone. And he also tells you that that after the meal, I was thinking that I would tell one or two of my favorite tales. I know some of the other passengers in days past have liked that very much. And of course, my teamsters, my staff, they always want to hear my tales, don't you? And they're all like, yes, Bort, always, always.
Hey, well, Daisy loves a good tale. And
Daisy, show us that picture again of Lycura.
Yeah.
Nice.
Catching sunlight.
Very cool.
That's
awesome. A little washed out there. Oh, and I did drew this from pursuant to our conversation earlier.
Nice.
So Glenda has come to eat with the group, which she does, although as usual, she stays away from most everyone. She stays off to the side. She tends to not be centralized around everyone. She gets her food and then goes off to the side and is generally quiet. Ulf and Ulf are here, and of course they are they're gregarious at best. They like to play pranks on each other and on other members of the caravan, and it's likely they have played the same prank on you more than once because their repertoire is not that large.
Only once.
Yes.
Only once.
Only once? Is that like a line in the sand for Theron?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you've established with the twin brothers that you don't appreciate that type of humor?
Yes. I think we've had an agreement. And if they try it again, because they're so fond of giving people clever nicknames, I just start calling them the Dipshit Brothers.
Ulf says, no, not Dipshit, Redfin.
Oh, it's Dipshit.
The Dipshits are for farther north than we. We Redfins are in the southern. We're in the southern Linorm. But I do know the Dipshits.
You might want to double check with your mother.
Well, so Daisy's bound by his religion not to allow like like he's uncomfortable around sour-faced people. So, you know, he'll pull out his fiddle because fiddles make people smile. It's just kind of inherent to the instrument. And and even like, you know, who's giving the telling the tales?
It's Bort who said he was going to tell some stories.
Yeah, once Bort starts talking, Daisy just kind of like a little musical accompaniment to like.
Gotcha. Little background tunes for him.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
Unless Bort shoots him a look like.
So Ulf and Ulf, you know, they can tell that they're feeling Randy and they want to do something, but Theron has already given him the look this evening and kind of got him to stand down a bit, and their antics are minimized down to just flicking peas at each other, and then maybe the occasional flicking of a vegetable that goes stray and hits someone else, but they're concentrating their efforts on each other primarily.
So you told you dipshit.
and Bort will eventually he will finish his meal and he doesn't have a lot of finery in the way of glassware and things because those things don't last on the road very long, but he does have these ceramic, kind of rough ceramic glazed glasses, mugs, if you will, without a handle. They're just kind of an open, a wide mouth kind of open mug. And he pulls these out. They're chipped. The edges are there. You can see places where the glaze has been chipped off. They have certainly seen their time and certainly had lots of love. And he has enough to pour for everyone. And he initially comes out with a handful of these in his fingers with the bottle. And Tamley is behind him also carrying more glasses. And little by little, he pours just about an inch of this liquor for each one of you. And he tells you that this is it is a rare giant alcohol that comes from the far north. And it is a fermented liquor of fungus and mushrooms. It's very heady. You should let it sit and air a bit, and it is a sipping experience. You don't want to shoot that down. And as he's saying, you don't want to shoot that down. Ulf and Ulf are around each other's arms and they just shoot it down.
Yeah, Daisy does too.
I was going to say I watched those guys do it, and I slam it as well.
I stopped Daisy very quickly, and then I pour mine into Daisy's, and then give it to Daisy.
you edge his glass. You reach out and edge his glass.
Yep. Well, like you'll find there that you'll catch Daisy looking at you with these sort of like a deferential, seeking approval, sort of like, smile and nod at certain instances. And,
I take a little sip and start sputtering, and I pour the rest into Theron's cup as well.
And I put it into Daisy's.
And he pours his into Daisy's. Nice. All right. So, Simon, make a fortitude saving throw for me. And Daisy, make a fortitude saving throw added with big circumstances attached to it.
Let's see.
Someone was going to say disadvantage.
I almost did, yeah. I almost did.
22.
22.
Right.
Okay. So 22 up 4 is 26. So
18 for Daisy.
It's stronger than you like, certainly, but it's not gonna. It's gonna move your needle a little bit, but you could see where other people would really hurt themselves on this stuff, and you're fine with it. Simon, what did you roll?
22.
A 22 as well. Oh, that was from you? Oh, I thought it was Daisy.
That was me.
That was an 18.
An 18. Okay.
And I totally failed my lore alcohol roll. That's why.
Okay.
That's why.
So you managed to get it down, keep it down. It definitely swells your throat with warmth right off the bat, and you can feel that heat kind of coming up into your face and at the top of your head. It's definitely strong, but good. And Bort just shakes his head. He says, "You daft fools! You're supposed to make it last through the first story. Well, I guess I better get started then." He says, "I was traveling through one of the high mountain roads of the 5 Kingdom Mountains when my caravan was captured by a fire giant. As I was being lowered into the kettle, I managed to trick the giant into using a rare plant called frost bloom in his soup, claiming it was quite spicy and would hide the aroma of the body odor of those of us who haven't bathed in some time. It happens in caravan life.
Yeah.
When the giant tasted the broth, it froze his mouth shut, and I was able to escape with my entire crew during his confusion." And then he upends his glass. Goes, "Perhaps it's this very liquor that we managed to extract from that fire giant, or perhaps not." Cookie is not leaning into Bort telling these stories, giving you the indication that he's heard all these many times before, and he's sitting there. Cookie takes a few bites of his food. He sets it down. He just sits and solemnly kind of reflects, and every once in a while he'll pick up his ladle and he'll stir the pot, which he has brought from the back of his wagon. And attached to like an iron tripod configuration that he can set it on, and you're all able to help yourselves. It's a very informal kind of eating experience. They don't give you plates, they don't give you silverware. He just makes the shit and says, "Come and get it." So you have to work it out yourself. Everyone's, in your rations, you probably have a plate, a bowl, a knife, a fork. You take care of yourself, because when you're on the road, no one else is gonna. So, so for the most part, you have found Cookie's food to be incredible. He's a really, really good cook, and he's not just adept at using rare or unusual ingredients. He's particularly adept at making normal ingredients that are readily available taste other than everyone else does. He manages to get a little something out of a spice that no one else does, and as a result, you don't hate Cookie's food. You look forward to. He basically does one big meal a day, and then has other foodstuffs that you can kind of help yourself to. But he only cooks one meal a day, and you've come to kind of look forward to it. He's only made 3-4 meals for you at this point, but each one has been getting progressively better. Mixed with the fact also that since Cookie has this pot hanging off the side of his wagon cooking all day long, as the caravan moves along, it actually smells pretty good and kind of gets you in the idea. Gets you, it's like smelling the pie that's being baked before you get to buy it. You get to have that kind of anticipation, and you get to have that kind of that Pavlov's dogs kind of anticipation of your food. So the food is good. The grog is good. At some point, Glunda will finish her meal, and she will walk over to where Tamley is sitting, and she will give Tamley a tug on her hides, down at her skirt hides that she wears around her waist. And Tamley will have a brief and quiet exchange with her, and then Glunda will excuse herself for the night, and she will go off to where the animals are, like she always does every night.
Is like Kira being taken care of by Theron now, since it's still his patient?
Well, she's actually doing much better. At this point, she's the lump on her head has gone down quite a bit. Your ankle feels a whole lot better. He's managed to keep anything from getting infected. So other than just the little bit of a trauma on your body from the experience, you're actually feeling pretty good. And eating this meal is kind of bringing all the energy out of you, and you're actually feeling quite good.
Yep, I have joined back with everybody in the circle with all the fire, and I'm feeling a lot better.
It's good to see that you're on the mend.
Glad you're feeling better.
Absolutely.
Welcome back, Mistress of the Night.
Thank you. Where's the grog?
Here you go. Because Daisy's always got a drink ready to go.
Perfect. Thank you, Daisy.
Kid and Kaylin provides.
Ulf and Ulf, after dinner and after storytelling time, they set up a crate, a large tall crate that they can stand next to, and the two of them start having arm wrestling, matches and bouts with each other. And at one point, one of them will say, "Does anyone want in? Anyone? No? Okay, fine. Best 5 out of 7. Best 7 out of 9. Best 9 out of 11. It goes that way for a while, unless any of you are feeling like you want to arm wrestle with one of the mooks. You can.
I'm duty bound.
I avoid touching them.
All and every bar competition. This is part of my religion.
I'm throwing rocks at them from the side.
All right, so Daisy, you go over to where they are. You stand next to the Redfin brothers, and when they finish their bout, Ulf beats Ulf on this particular one, and he takes his dagger. He takes his dagger that he's got stuck into the crate right next to him. He pulls the dagger out, and he makes another notch in the dagger in front of him. He has 6 notches in front of him, and his brother has 4. And they look up at you and they're like, "You want in?"
Yeah, I can't turn down an opportunity to gain a little glory or to hand a little glory out to someone else.
Ulf says, "I've got 7. He's got 4." He goes, I'm in the lead, so you'll wrestle me next. And Ulf goes, "You damn fool, that's 6. You don't have 7. He goes, "It doesn't matter. I've got more notches than you." Well, that's true. And he stands up and he offers you his space.
All right. Keep in mind, I still got a nursing injury here, and all right. Let's take it.
No excuses. No excuses.
No excuses.
Oh, you're fired. Why is that still happening? Okay. So he says you want to sweeten the deal a bit.
Talking a wager here, then?
Yes, a wager. Exactly. I'm sure you understand that a teamster's pay is not quite that of, say, a servant of the church. So what do we say? 2 silver?
Jeez. I'm getting a little might rich, but all right.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Well, how about 1? Or do you prefer copper? Do you want to wager coppers instead?
No, I like the color silver just fine. Let's do 1.
All right. Then 1. Then 1 it is. And Ulf says, "Hey, can I get in on this? Anyone want to take a bet? Anyone?"
I think I find the brothers already overpaid, and I've never seen my friend Daisy arm wrestle before, so I am out.
Right. I don't have enough information to make a good assessment.
I've watched Daisy brutally overkill a wolf, so I'm going to put a silver piece on him.
Okay, so you say I'll take some action, and Ulf says I'll bet you a silver that Ulf beats him, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's the bet I want. So 1 silver straight across between you and Ulf, and then Ulf one silver straight across with you and Daisy. All right.
Oh, do I notice if Ulf and Ulf don't have any kind of like is there anyone that they're sweet on or can tell sweet on them that I've discovered in the course of my journey? Because Daisy's always on the lookout for that kind of thing.
No one's sweet on them.
Oh, you're talking about Ulf and Ulf?
Everyone's lovable on some level.
No. The simple answer is no. The brothers' bromance is far too strong of a bond for any woman to get in between that isn't getting paid for it. So no, there's no one in their lives. All right. So here's what I would like you to do, Daisy. I would like you to make an athletics check against his strength DC, which is going to be 16. All right, so you're making an athletics check against DC 16.
I got myself athletics trained in it, and I'm not wearing my breastplate at the moment. Oh yeah, 20.
You didn't wear armor to dinner. That's a good thing.
Oh, wait, can you see it? Where is it? There it is. Can you see it flashing?
I believe you. No. It just made me sick to my stomach going, whoa. So you rolled a nat 20, so your athletics converts 25. To a what? A 25. All right. So that is
25.
That is not 10 higher, but since you rolled the natural 20, it shifts you into a critical success instead of just a success. And let's see. You put Ulf down fast. He all right, he gets himself all ready and he's doing the whole preparation thing and getting the grip down and doing all that bullshit and clapping your other hand and getting ready. He's like, all right, are you ready? All right, someone else going to start us. And Ulf walks over and he goes, and he just puts his hand down, lifts his hand down. You just put it down. And he's like, he says, clearly I wasn't ready. The grip wasn't right. I demand a rematch.
Sorry, Ulf. I got 8 older brothers. That's kind of how this works.
And Ulf starts laughing. He goes, yeah. He goes, he hands Desna a silver coin.
Thank you very much.
No, actually, but Daisy got up and kind of be rubbing his arm like, oh, geez, Ulf. That was you got quite a grip there. I almost didn't manage it there. But then the bandage around.
You can make a deception check.
Yeah, actually, it's more like it'd almost be a diplomacy. Being very diplomatic in a way, but deception. 19.
19. Okay.
Yeah.
He seems a little bit relieved by your patronizing him. It seems to be effectively working, and the 2 coins, you each put your silver coins in right in front of you. Bang! You put him down and just took your 2 coins. And he's looking at you, and he goes, "Nope, I'm done." And he stands up, and he walks off. Ulf's like, "Yeah, I got more money to lose."
But I probably shouldn't have arm wrestled with my stitched up arms. So it's like a little red bloom on the bandage there.
Tore your stitch out just a little bit.
Doc, I think I need a fresh application of whatever.
Exactly. All right. So the rest of the evening, they neither one of them taps out. The other one's like, hey, I'm ready to go. And you're like, no, I'm good. He's like, okay. So those boys find themselves off. You hear Tamley telling them, all right, you two, you've got a big day tomorrow, and I'm counting on you to get 4 wheels repaired. How about you pack it in? And eventually they will reluctantly do so. Bort also says, well, I've got one more story to tell, but perhaps I'll save it for another time. He starts getting up and collecting up his cups and getting his things together. You see him lingering unnecessarily.
Are you sure you don't have another story for us, Bort?
Well, I do. I do have another story to tell, but it doesn't seem like tonight is the night, unless I'm reading the room wrong.
I think you should pour us another glass and tell us your story.
He upends the bottle. He says, well, I can do half of those. I can do one of those two.
Theron excuses himself, and he's going to go get some rest before his watch starts.
Sure. Okay. He says, perhaps I'll spin one last tale before I turn in for the night. He says, the tale of Pharasma's comb. One day, while crossing the waters of Lake Encarthen, my boat was set upon by a mighty storm, and the ship capsized. As the seas took me, the crafty merchant, that would be me, grabbed hold of one of the treasured lock boxes as I slid beneath the waves, only to awake in front of Pharasma, about to be judged. Alas, the Lady of Death could not decide my fate because her hair was being tousled by the storm winds that brought me before her. Not wanting to be inconsiderate, I dug through my lockbox and found a silver comb that I gave to the lady to tame her unruly hair. So impressed was she by the gift that she returned me and my entire cruise to the shore of the lake alive and well. And he picks up the rest of his stuff, and with that, he bids you all a good evening. He says, I hope we won't be seeing each other again until the morning.
Good night, Bort.
Thank you for the stories, Bort.
That lulled me to sleep already.
All right, so Tamlin lets everyone know that she will be rotating in and out of the watch schedule as needed, and she's got Ulf and Ulf both on the rotation as well. She says Glinda is a very, very a light sleeper, so if anything gets close to the animals, we'll know before too long. She says, all right, then. She gets up and she'll leave the area around the fire as well. All right, so that will end our evening at camp in preparation for the next day. I think that's a fine episode break right there. So we will be back, Busters. We will be joining you again very soon for episode 3 and find out what happens to our brave adventurers. Like, comment, subscribe, tell everybody. If you're liking what you're seeing, tell everybody. If you'd like to learn Pathfinder 2 with us, you're gonna. So enjoy yourselves, and we hope that you are.
Bye, guys.